Rodeo. I spoke to Rodeo last night. They had nice swag. Yeah, Rodeo's real cowgirls right there. Morning out there in TV land. How we doing? Did you guys come to the 6 a.m. workout today, or did you stay at the comfort? Oh, guys, come on. Get up. Let's get after it a little bit, huh? I brought donuts. Guys, I brought donuts. You're missing it. Mason, what's your favorite kind of donut? You're a maple guy? Just maple, like glazed, no filling, straight French cruller? Straight up. Mr. French Dion?
Cake donuts.
Cake donuts.
Chocolate frosted cake donuts.
No sprinkles.
Yeah.
Dip it in your coffee. Because they got a little more consistency to it. They can last. Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah, I like the flavor of the cake. I don't know. It's just always been that way.
I do two things when I travel on the road. I do two things. My staff thinks I have a metabolism of a 12-year-old, but like I'll go find a good pizza place. I always try to find a new pizza place on the road, and I always go to try to find like a, I don't know what you call it, boutique donut shop or like a luxury donut shop in the morning, like something that's like where you just can't get them at, Ridley's actually pretty good quality, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, I said quality, it's just like it's sugar on top of sugar, and as you know, like they get you. But Ridley's is solid. And we're gonna try to find a good pizza shop, in Vegas, a good donut shop in Vegas.
Cars.
Yeah, and I'm always chasing cards. I'm always chasing basketball cards, man. It's a pretty simple life for me. That's it. Pizza, donuts, cards.
12-year-old.
Yeah, 12-year-olds. The 12-year-old. There you go.
All right, let's talk about San Jose State and the Mountain West.
Thanks for the championship.
I'd rather not, but thanks, Nick. I'd rather not. I know you guys got other stuff you got to do today. Third time's a charm. Had a good friend of mine text me last night from VMI, who's associate head coach at VMI, and they're playing the Citadel today. And he goes, "You got any advice for me going into this game? Being twice this year already. We're going to play the third time, and everybody likes to talk about that third time thing." I said, I just don't overthink it, don't overcoach it in a lot of ways, because teams are going to beat teams 3 times, they're going to lose the teams 3 times. You're going to go 2-1, or you're going to go 1-2. I don't think there's a lot of it's hard to beat teams 3 times in a row. I don't know. It just depends on if that team is right and if you played your best against them. I don't think we played our best against San Jose, and it's been a credit to those guys to be able to take us, to the basket and get in the paint physically. And so we're going to have to continue to find a new creative way, which we've spent about a week or so now ahead of time just prepping our breakdown drills for practice to be able to throw a couple different coverages and things at them. So don't want to give it all away right here, but they're going to do what they're going to do. They're bitten by the injury bug a little bit as well right now. They have another game they got to play here, a Fresno game on Saturday at 3. And so we'll get another chance to just look at them and see who they are and how healthy they are going forward here. But for us, it's just about our preparation, and the thing that we just tell our guys, just one more day, right? One more day. And if you can stay one more day in Vegas, you can just practice one more day as a team. Just be together one more day. I really, times of the year are bittersweet. I don't care if you're having a good season, okay season, or a bad season. They're always bittersweet just because it's the end of the year. I mean, you put a lot of time. I mean, I know myself, my staff, players, put a lot of time. Our bigs are down there working out right now. You just put a lot of time into this. And, I said this last night on our Pokes playbook, but you're always searching to find the soul of your team. You're trying to find the soul of your team every year. And sometimes you find the soul of your team in the summer, and you just kind of know who they are and what they're going to be. And sometimes you find the soul of your team after a non-conference. Sometimes you find it in the league. And this team has been a tricky one to figure out here in 9 months. And sometimes you find the soul of your team in the conference tournament. Oregon State, 2020, 2021. North Carolina State last year. And all you got to do is you got to find that soulful connection where they just want to stay and want to play one more day. And if you can find that, man, that's what makes the conference tournament time special. That's why I think all teams should be able to be invited into their conference tournament. I think it's an experience. In the Horizon, that we talked about the experience of the student athlete experience of playing in the conference tournament. And what's cool about the Mountain West is everybody gets playing, and you get a chance. You get one more chance to play your 3rd season, and you always have that hope, which is massive, guys, in this day and age. Because if you were done and ousted or couldn't make your conference tournament because you were whatever seed, you're sitting around here watching guys probably go in the portal, and you're trying to go recruit guys that aren't done playing yet, you know, and you're sitting there, and you're in a purgatory. You're in a basketball purgatory, so to speak. The fact that you have a chance to play one more game and get together, it keeps hope alive, right? And I don't care if that one more day philosophy is attributed to basketball, or if it's attributed to, you know, someone in your life or a loved one where you just want to have one more day with them and just want to be around them one more day. You just never want the season to end, because when you're just that consumed and you're that obsessed, the minute's over. I don't know. I'll probably just get sick. You know, I usually at this time of the year when it's done, I get a massive sickness for about 2 days, because my body just goes into like, oh, you're done. You don't have to fight or flight anymore. You're done. You don't have to sit up and just get up every morning and prep and go to the next one and try to find a way to win. Like, your body just says you can relax now. And I hate it, because I don't want to get sick. I don't ever get sick. But that's usually what happens around this time of the year. You know, you just can shut it down. And I just want to stay. I just want to stay and play one more day.
What do you think this team learns through the first two matchups with San Jose State?
Well, you'll learn that, you know, every day you step up to that jump ball, that circle, is that you got to look across. There's another guy standing across from you, and you got to decide is it going to be him or is it going to be you? This is what I love about competitive sports. It's like it's every day. It's a choice. I got to be tougher than you today. I got to be better than you today. Like, I don't expect you to play your worst, but I have to step up across that line and know that I'm going to be tougher. I'm going to be better than you today. And you got to believe that. You got to believe in your work. You got to trust your training. And what I think they learned is that San Jose State, man, they don't have a lot. In a lot of ways, they're a lot like us in the sense that they don't have fear of anybody in this league. They played teams tight now. They had some blowouts too, but I expect our guys to know that they're gonna try to do the same thing they've done the last two games to us, which is isolate us in the middle third of the floor, and then go right at us, and either you can or you can't, or I don't think it's a won't thing anymore. It's like either you can or you can't. You can either stop them or you can't stop them, and we just one stop. Right? Just one stop. And if it's a tough 15-foot jump shot, 14-foot jump shot where a guy puts his chest at you in the middle of the paint and you can't force a guy to miss, or you can't make him miss. As a coach, there's not a lot you can scheme to do that. It's mano a mano. And so I hope they've learned that you're going to have to go be a tougher player and a tougher team against San Jose State.
You talked about their physicality. You said the last game was Manalytics that won it for them. You didn't have Abube last game, though, and he had a really nice day in San Jose. How much of a difference can he make in this one?
You can make a big difference. Scotty's right. Like, Scotty makes a big difference just because they're not going to play zone. I mean, Scott, how Scotty is throw him the ball, go score, right? Like, that's what you have to do. And he can make a huge difference for us. And now he's got to be able to take care of the basketball when you throw it into him and know that teams try to double or choke on you, and you have to kick it out and then get teams in rotations, and the guys have to make plays. But he can make a big difference when he's right. And that's with all of our guys. We're trying to get everybody to be right on the same night, and we just haven't in the recent games here had everybody right on the same night. But that's your processes as a player. We can do a lot for you as a coaching staff and as a team, but your processes as a player have to be so professional-like that you're able to show up the same way, right, regardless of circumstances.
What's your gauge, I guess, on these guys' belief level going into next week?
I mean, I couldn't gauge their level of belief because that's an internal thing, right? And I would pray that they don't fake it till they make it. I would pray that they feel like they actually have a real chance to go out here and win. I mean, because of what they've done, as far as played 15 games, 2 possessions or less, won 7, lost 8. So it's not like you're sitting here going into being like, there's no way we have a chip in a chair down in Vegas, right? We have a chip in a chair. We got a chip. We got to go play at the table. We got a chair, and we got to double that down. We got to go see if we can go get some money back, and just say walk away from that table and come back the next day. But I would say if I'm me, like, I'm sitting there going, all right, shoot. It was a 2-possession game all game long, last couple games, and until they pulled away and got it to 9 at the end of the game because you couldn't get the stop. And so at that point, like, it's just going to be the same game. We are the same team. We are 65, man. Like, we're 65 to 70, and that's where we have to play and stay. And we got to get those stops to keep it at 65 for us.
Allen has won a Conference USA tournament. Belich has won a Big West tournament. Do you want to hear from those guys this week? A little more vocal and letting these guys know what's ahead of them?
I wanted to hear from them all year. I mean, it's like at some point, like, we recruited guys with some of that experience so that they can impart that wisdom on our locker room. But you got to be uncomfortable stepping up and saying, like, this is what this feels like, this is what this looks like, this is how hard it is to win, 4 games in 4 days. And if you're not gonna bring your past experiences with you that could be valuable to us, right? I always say it's like getting Christmas presents and not being able to open them up. Like we need those guys to continue to talk about what it is to be a team that can be connected for 4 days and go and make that thing run.
So Stacy had mentioned before the year just kind of re-recruiting your own roster, obviously in today's world. I mean, have you gotten there with OB yet, or is that?
Well, we have conversations, monthly with our guys from about January on, just like, where they're at, what they're doing, what the reality of the situation looks like, and the tough part about this is you look at what you got. San Diego State has a GoFundMe out there, for trying to re-recruit their team. But it's like if you don't do it, if you don't even try, right, then you don't have a chance. And, we talk about this a lot when we're going to recruiting, going forward. There's availability, like is the guy in the portal? Then there's gettability, like can we actually have a chance of getting them? And then the last part is affordability. Can we afford you? And you have to look at those 3 things. And it's not recruitability, because anybody's recruitable, not everybody's gettable. And so you want to get available, gettable, affordable. And you have to hit those 3 things. And even on your own roster, you have to get gettable, affordable, right? They're available, they're here with us, but they got to be gettable and they got to be affordable. And that's where I like the reality of the world is what's everybody doing. Maryland gets a $10 million donation. And Kevin Willard's having a good year. Well, people want to see, players come back or give their team a chance. They need a $10 million donation, right? That's what it's getting crazy out there. You don't see teams donating $10 million to the Los Angeles Lakers, because they got budgets, professional budgets. All right, we're dealing out here in a world where someone could step up with deep pockets, right, and just say, here you go get you a roster right now. And we just know where we are and what we're dealing with, and we have our conversations, and they're very real and objective, and it's not contentious by any means. It's, go in there and this or this. It's just, here's what are you thinking, where you at right now. And ultimately, when that final buzzer sounds, you'll go back to Laramie. You'll have your end of the season meetings in that first week, and most everybody knows what they're going to do by the time that buzzer sounds. Most everybody knows. Even if they held their card close to vest, and didn't want to give you the real answer right now, they're gonna let you know after that game. So you re-recruit your roster. You try to get the guys that you can afford, and get the guys that are gettable or that are available and want to come back, right? And the want to thing's important for us. Like, we want guys who want to be Cowboys, right? If you have to convince somebody or getting a bidding war to get them to come back to be a Cowboy, they're not here for being a Cowboy. They're here for the financial windfall that could, be at their fingertips. You want the guys for the right reasons.
Does it still make you shake your head, though, when you see a guy like OB who gets an agent and you see him pumping out his stats and stuff on social media and shopping him almost, if you will?
It's just with the reality of the world now. It's not even that. You're getting recruiting profiles of players through scouting services all year long that are talking about players on other teams that in November, in December, in January, and you don't have that's why I said available. You don't even know what the heck's going on. You don't know why are they doing a profile on this kid? Why are they putting that out there right now? What if that kid loves where he's at?
Yeah.
But what if he loves where he's at and he hasn't? And they probably have no idea. Right? I'm just being honest with you. Like, some of these kids have no idea what these guys behind the scenes are doing, but they're feeding the beast, the machine that is this world right now. And some of these kids are very naive to it and don't know what's going on, and others do, and sometimes it's strings being pulled behind the scenes. But you just look at it and go, it's the world. This is the world we live in. There's no boundaries anymore. There's no guidelines. It's just what it is. And so to that point, our guys are going to post their highlights after games, or players are going to post highlights after games. They live in a social media world. They do it. I'm not a big fan of posting your own highlights after a loss. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. But these kids have done it since 9th grade. It doesn't matter. They've been posting their They'll post all their AAU tournament highlights, and they probably lost 3 of those 4 games they played at AAU, but they show their highlights. You know, that's just what it is. And I do scratch my head sometimes when I see other why would that guy put those highlights out there? But I mean, there's all sorts of. You can start a Twitter account tomorrow and probably get the most views ever. Just start posting highlights of players. I mean, and those players might stay and half those players might go, and you just have no idea why.
You talked about a pie analogy a couple weeks ago. Are you confident that you know what pieces of the pie you want back? Are you confident they'll be back?
You're half right half the time,
Yeah.
right? So we said this in this world, you could know in your core, in your gut, you can feel like these guys are going to stay, and you think you got it pegged, but you don't know what someone's being told behind the scenes. So there's just so many things that you can't control nowadays, the uncontrollable variables of this all. And a guy can be extremely happy with where you're at, but once again, if he could be extremely happy with his opportunity where he's at, but then there's a chance that he could go get more money somewhere. And that doesn't mean he didn't like where he was at or didn't appreciate where he was. But the reality is everybody's going to be, money is the root of all evil. Who makes money? Man, right? So man is essentially the root of all evil. And in this portal, there's money and there's man that are working at a high level. And they're working in harmony together to try to get guys to go to different places. And so I think you could be ready to try to get the guys that you want to come back, but also you have to be ready for guys that you wanted to stay, that you thought were going to stay or going to go. And everybody has that choice. And so you have to just continually take the emotion out of evaluation, and you can't just burn your own house down because you're mad about everything, right? You just got to continue to move on and pivot. And it's the state of the world. I just keep trying to live in the objective reality of where we're at, not the subjective. I wish it was like this, or I wish it could go back. It's just not, and it's not going back. So just stay and play and see what the present day brings.
I have a kind of a brain buster for you. So
Brain buster. Oh.
Do you build your roster around the play style that you guys are playing right now, or is it the other way around? Do you kind of?
No, I mean, the last 2 years. So I've been in year ones for 2 years in a row now. I haven't slept in 19 months. Year ones are you're trying to make sure that you get the lay of the land. I mean, I learned a whole bunch of things about how Green Bay operated, and now you're learning about a whole new, just sitting in a different seat here in Wyoming, you're learning about a whole different things of how Wyoming operates in this day and age, in this era. And so what you do is, we have identified, and Patrick Stacy's been phenomenal here with this, we have an 86-page document that I think at some point you guys probably read, but you're gonna have to understand algorithms and all this sort of stuff too, like, bad math, but it's an 86-page document of everything that we do in our program, why we do it, and then how what wins in the Mountain West. And so we talk about recruiting archetypes of players, and then statistically, what are the types of players that win in this league? And you got to have an unreal point guard and a top 50 efficient big, and then you have to have a high minute, high efficiency connector, and you have an elite sniper shooter. And there's all these player archetypes that you have to get there. And so when you get that right group of guys, like, you could play different styles. I always say, like, I played really fast at Missouri Western. I had 2 guys, one guy made 100 threes, another guy made 75 threes, and we scored 80 some odd points a game, and we played really fast. And that was the way we could have an advantage. We're going to try to play that will give us the best advantage. And I don't necessarily want to play slow, but the last 2 years, when you're literally 2 of the last, portal recruitment places in the country, with some of the lowest in the country, like, then you got to go find a way to win in those margins. And last year's team at Green Bay really believed in the 65, right? The 65 style of play and being 362 in the country in pace or whatever. Really believed that was an advantage. And this year's team, we had to play this advantage because we're just Bill Belichick philosophy. Your strengths are greater than their strengths, play your strengths. Your strengths are less than their strengths, play at their weaknesses. And so most teams don't want to play slow. And we had to play slow this year. But based on the type of players you can get, and then you look at them and you evaluate them and you assess them and you say, these fit the Mountain West archetypes for winning championships or being a top 2, top 3, top 4 competitive team in the league, or you could play a different style.
So there's still a chance you can make Steve McLean happy and not Larry Shyatt.
Both, yeah, right. Like you'd like to. There's you can make any coach in Wyoming basketball history. I think it's much less about making the coaches happy. It is about making the state of Wyoming and the Pope fans be like, you're winning some games. I don't care how you play, just get it done, right there, big dog. But yeah, I mean, that's McLean had unbelievable players. Talked to Josh Davis, Mark Bailey when they were here a couple times. And they just talked about the offense they ran, but it was basically like, go. Just get the ball, go. I mean, you're throwing half-court alley-oops to, Josh Davis. Break a fault with Josh Davis. Just go as fast as you can, and then be stingy on defense and have really good players. And really good players make really good coaches, right? And really good people create really good cultures. And so you start from those things. I think those are important.
Are the leading Cowboys today going into the tournament louder, or are they silent and wait for the performance to show?
Leading kid.
Are the leaders of the team going silent going into the tournament, or getting louder and prouder about the accomplishments of the season that they do have to hang their hat on going into play in Vegas?
Well, I think it's this. Coach Meyer used to say 1 postseason win is worth 5 regular season wins. And we don't have the clout right now to go down there and be loud and proud and braggadocious. We have an underdog, but we have to prove it. Like we haven't beat San Jose State. I mean, I've told these guys, like, there needs to be a level of humility going into this, that you just don't get to go down there and think that you're going to win. Just show up and, we have a rational confidence, right? ICG guys, I've told you that before. I think this is a rational, confident group that could actually go in there, and when those guys get hot, they can make some noise. But I think there's more of a steely-eyed focus here of, like, you just got to get this done. Like, this is what it is. You got to win one. You got to win one. Like, you can't talk about winning it all. You got to win one. And to that point, like, there should be some humility for us. How we played down the stretch, close, but does it count? 9 of your last 10. Like, you're going to have some humility and some desperation going into that if you want to play another day in Vegas.
Well, you've been obviously coaching a long time. But how do you guys kind of prepare for, obviously you have a ton of seniors for what could be their last game in college?
I think it's different for everybody. I almost think there's a lot more pressure on guys that have been at a place for a long period of time. And when they go down there, they just don't want it to end, right? Like 4-year guys are here, and there's a lot more pressure. Like, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to go outperform because they want to do it, because I never want the ride to end, right? The Maldos and the Thompson, those guys, right? Like, just a lot of, almost put that extra weight on your shoulder. Where there's a little bit more free spirit of guys that have kind of been in and out of programs, transferred a little bit, and it's like, yeah, I played in some of these. I know what this is like. This will be interesting to see what this is like in the Mountain West, and not really just kind of stamp that finality part on it yet. And then a lot of these guys grow up nowadays thinking that they're all going to be pros, and so I knew, like, a locker room full of seniors that were like, we got to go work real jobs after this, man. This is like, we want to play a little bit longer. Like, a spring break can wait, like, I'm going to have spring break the rest of my life if I want to, like, most of us were going to be accountants or, teachers or whatever the hell we're going to do. And a lot of these guys at this level, they all think they're going to be professionals, right? And they all just, season's over, I'll go train somewhere and I'll go get ready for my next contract. Don't know if it hits his home as much as those guys that really, like Cole Henry. It'll be really tough for Cole, because I know Cole's not going to play professional. And we've had agents reach out to us about Cole, playing overseas. They think he'd be a really good overseas player because of his feel and skill set. But it just, I don't think he wants to do it, right? And so I think the last game will be really hard for a guy like Cole, right? Because it's just, man, this is it. And I felt Cole's, like, what I love about Cole is I know, like, how much he cares. I know how much he cares about us and how much he wants to win for me and our program. And, he's kind of pressed a little bit the last couple of games. Just pressed, and like, he just needs to be able to go out there and just flow and be free a little bit. Like, what will happen. Don't press it and stress it.
You think that's why we saw Baldo kind of snap a little bit during his last game?
I mean, guys who care, man, it's a superpower. It's also a strength that, your strength overused can become a weakness. And as a coach, you always want guys who care. But, like, you also want some guys who give less Fs, right?
Yeah.
And you want some of that, because those are the guys that just go out there and you're like, damn, where'd that come from? I mean, I just played free, right? I think Steve Kerr, I remember this quote about Steve Kerr when he was playing in Arizona, and he wrote a couple things on his shoes. He wrote a couple cuss words on his shoes, F and F, because it was like, just stop thinking, freaking fire it, shoot the ball, right? Because you're caring too much right now, and you want to win for everybody else, but just go do it for the team,
2 years ago when you filled in for Linder and
had the presser, how emotional was that for you? And you probably didn't think, oh, in a couple of years I'll be back in this seat.
Oh, I mean, I think about that a lot because there could be a possible little New Mexico matchup where you're sitting there again, and kind of like a blink moment for me, you know, and walking back there and knowing that in these days, like, life still happens. That was what was emotional for me, because I just thought about so much, like, of life, how much life was happening at that time. Not basketball, but life. And that, I'll never forget that. One, just being able to sit up there, but knowing, like, you know, I got a chance to coach those guys in those moments that were done. And we spent so much time with them, man. They'll all tell you stories someday when you sit around having a cold beer with them. They'll tell you stories about how crazy you were as an assistant, you know, and, you know, but those are the things you remember. And you always remember the losses way more than you ever remember the wins. I know that. But to be able to be, you know, full circle moment to come back here, be at Wyoming, and now leading at the helm, I'll never take that for granted. I'll never take that opportunity for granted, that moment for granted. Because I remember the minute that game was over with, I was literally on a flight that next morning to Green Bay to go interview. And that's how, like, crazy this world is. At that Green Bay interview, they had watched the interview from the game before, the night before. And they just loved how much you talked about the players that were in your program and how much you care. And I always say you have to earn my tears, right? You got to earn them. I'm an emotional guy, and I'll cry at a radio show with Keith Kelly, you know, but you got to earn my tears, because you have to give more than you take in this life to be a guy who earns the tears of somebody. You got to know, like, you got to give and give and give, even when it's not going right. You got to give and give and give, and if you're not giving, man, you're taking. There is no zero sum here. You don't get to stand in the middle. And so those that give, I mean, I'm going to give back to you, and you're going to probably get a couple of those bad boys.
You got the therapy couch in your office at your
Yes.
busy office.
It's a busy office, man. It's a busy office. Like, it is. That's why you put the candles on and set the vibe here, you know, ambiance. Anybody out in the multiverse? You guys got any questions?
I guess I just would like to ask, I guess with that loss at Fresno, do you feel like it was kind of a humbling loss that would benefit the team, or maybe like the other way around, where maybe you guys won't play as much confidence against San Jose?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mason. I think that's a lot of it. Let's do this. A year ago, we beat Fresno by 40 and lost in the first round. You feel really good about yourself, right? That's a great draw. You want to get. I'm not sure there's a right way to slice this pie to call it, like, if it's a humbling loss and your team plays more convicted, or if it's a monstrous win and you go play less motivated. I just think it really comes down to the makeup of your team. You know, I talked about is whether or not these guys make the decision to show up a certain way and say that they're going to be this team today. And while we're not playing Fresno, right, you are playing San Jose, who's, you know, punked you a couple times. And to that point, like, I don't care if we lost to Fresno or beat Fresno, we were still going to have to go prepare for another team and know that that team hadn't, you know, we hadn't played our best against those guys. And so I'd like to think that there's a little bit of mental manipulation there and that stuff, but I just don't know anymore, to be honest with you. If the winning and losing are both imposters, is how we kind of keep it even keel in our program, Mason, is like we just treat them the same. You could have a good win, or you could have a bad loss, or you could have a bad win and a good loss, and you just they're both the same if you get too high or low.
You guys good? Hold on for a second. Oh, go ahead.
I guess my only question is, do you have a sense that, you know, these guys are ready for the big lights, like that this is what they come here for, like Obiak did? I think Jordan, to a certain degree, having experienced a big conference tournament, that maybe this is what they really wanted to, you know, the whole season has been for this.
I hadn't seen our team have more pop or more pep in their step than when we went to Vegas the night before we played UNLV, and they went in the gym just to shoot, because we just go to the gym to shoot on the road and just kind of get out the bus a little bit. I'd never seen our team more excited to be in the gym. And guys, we got to learn to win on this floor. We got to learn to win on this floor. It's where we're going to be. And I've never seen my team more excited than when they were there. and then they go out there and they play with their hair on fire against UNLV, like the most hair on fire experience I've seen all year from this team, as far as like what they wanted to do and how they wanted to get that win. And I think part of that was they just knew like they were going to be back here at some point, and this is where they were going to play. And I hold on to that memory in a lot of ways because it's a blink moment again for me watching our guys, hearing them walk into UNLV like, we're going to win on this floor. You got to learn how to win on this floor. And that's the type of belief I've wanted to foster all year long. Just like, these guys are funny because I know a lot of them have been in these moments, and I know a lot of them have won in the postseason. Cole, Dante, Mattia, you talk about Obi in the Sweet 16. You know, you've seen guys playing these moments, and you're just like, okay, if this is what you really signed up for and this is what you want, show me. You don't talk about it, be about it, right? And we're gonna have to be about it. Thanks, guys.